What is something your child said that you'll never forget? When my son Jake was 5, I made the mistake of letting him watch a crime documentary with me. I thought he was too young to understand, but he was asking all these questions about bad guys and police catching them. Being a single mom, I tried to explain things simply, that some people do bad things, and police help catch them so everyone stays safe. Jake became obsessed with being a detective. He'd walk around the house with a magnifying glass, looking for clues and asking everyone suspicious questions. It was adorable, really. He'd interrogate the mailman about why he came at different times, ask the grocery store clerk why certain items were missing from shelves. Everyone thought it was cute. One day, he asked me, "Mommy, how do police know who the bad guys are?" I explained, "Well, they look for evidence. Things that prove someone did something wrong, like fingerprints, or if someone saw them do it." "What if nobody saw them?" he asked. "Then they look for other clues, like DNA or security cameras," I said, trying to keep it simple. He nodded seriously and said, "So if there's no evidence, they can't catch the bad guy?" "That's right, honey. That's why evidence is so important." I thought it was just curiosity. I had no idea what was coming. 3 weeks later, we were at parent-teacher conferences. Jake's teacher, Mrs. Aiden, had always loved him. He was bright, well-behaved, and popular with the other kids. I was expecting nothing but good news. Mrs. Aiden smiled as we sat down and said, "Jake is such a wonderful student, so intelligent and inquisitive." "Thank you," I replied, beaming with pride. "Although," she continued, "there was one incident yesterday that was quite unusual." My stomach dropped. "What happened?" "Well, we were doing show and tell, and Jake brought in a photo of your family. He was telling the class about everyone in the picture." "That sounds normal," I said, confused. Mrs. Aiden shifted uncomfortably. He pointed to the photo of his father and said, "This is my daddy. He doesn't live with us anymore because he's dead." I felt the blood drain from my face. Jake's father wasn't dead. We were divorced, and he lived across town. "But then," Mrs. Aiden continued, her voice getting quieter, "Jake said, 'My mommy unalived him, but there's no evidence, so the police can't catch her.'" The room started spinning. I couldn't breathe. "He told the entire class that you're very smart because you didn't leave any fingerprints or DNA, and nobody saw you do it. Then he said, 'That's why we moved to this new house, to hide from the police.'" I stared at her in absolute horror. We had moved recently, but only because I got a better job. Jake's father was very much alive. He just traveled for work and hadn't visited in a few weeks. Mrs. Aiden leaned forward. "Sarah, I have to ask, is everything okay at home?" "His father is alive!" I practically shouted. "We're divorced. He travels for work. Jake hasn't seen him in a month because he's been in Chicago." But I could see the doubt in her eyes. The other parents in the hallway had stopped talking and were staring at us. "Jake was very detailed," Mrs. Aiden said carefully. "He told the children that you taught him how to hide evidence, and that's why he's so good at being a detective." I realized with growing horror that Jake had connected all the dots wrong. The crime shows, my explanations about evidence, his father's absence, our recent move. In his 5-year-old mind, he'd created an entire serial unaliver mystery with me as the killer. "I need to call my ex-husband right now," I said, fumbling for my phone. But the damage was already done. By the time I reached Jake's classroom, he was proudly telling his friends more details about how smart his mommy was for getting away with it. 23 5-year-olds now believed their classmate's mother was a killer who had successfully evaded justice. I spent the next hour on the phone with Jake's father, begging him to come to the school immediately to prove he was alive. The principal, 2 teachers, and a very concerned school counselor all watched as my very much alive ex-husband walked through those doors. Jake's face lit up when he saw his dad. "Daddy, you're supposed to be dead!" The silence in that room was deafening. That night, I had to explain to my 5-year-old detective why mommy wasn't actually a criminal mastermind, and why we needed to be more careful about what we say at school.